All right, I got to do a quick one on boundaries because the guys, Salty Saints, have been doing a great job of introducing a lot of really cool ideas. I'm calling you out, Mr. Holmes. You keep using the word boundaries, and I hope everybody is taking away some good information from that. I want to clarify what I mean and think and how boundaries have been useful to me real quick. And then hopefully we can develop this conversation a little bit. First of all, I know that I come off very black and white, and I know that there's like gray area, and that's just not the way I talk. I like to be clear and concise, and so it comes off kind of black and white. So I'll have to get used to that. Boundaries often get thought of in terms of rules. And boundaries are rules, but not in the way most people think of boundaries. And in fact, boundaries has become kind of a buzzword to the point where the word boundaries, I don't even like to use the word anymore because it's overused and it's confusing now. But one of the examples that came up that I think is a good example is if you're working from home and you need the space to work from home, then you're going to set a boundary. So you say, my boundary, family, is that no one bothers me between the hours of 9 and 4, which means nobody crosses this line. Don't knock on the door, leave me alone, whatever. That's my boundary. That's not a boundary, but that's how typically it's put forward. That's my boundary. So you guys have to honor that. So the reason that's not a boundary is because it's just a rule. It's just a request. You're just asking people to do something for you, which is actually the opposite of a boundary. That would be exercising control over other people's lives. And boundaries are the opposite of that. Boundaries are you exercising control over your own life and leaving other people alone. So if you are a boundaried person, you don't actually ask anybody to do anything ever for the way you feel, for the way you live your life. You can ask if they'll work with you on certain things and back and forth. It takes a lot of practice. But boundaries are about creating the life that you want regardless of what other people do. So in that situation, a boundary would be that I'm going to buy a lock for my door, and then I'm going to get noise canceling headphones, and therefore I don't have to answer the door because I don't hear it. And they're not going to come into my room or my office because they can't because the door's locked. Those are things that I've done, by the way, because I don't want to have to manage other people's behaviors using rules and requests. I want to just have my space to be how I want it, regardless of what other people do. So that's an example of a boundary. Those examples can be repeated ad nauseum to try and help, but that's the basic idea, is that boundaries are rules that you impose on yourself and nobody else, and that your boundaries cannot actually be broken by anybody else. So if you said, my boundary is that no one knocks on the door, people can violate that boundary. It's not a boundary. You're just making a request of somebody else. But if you say, my boundary is that if someone knocks on my door, I will not answer, you're the only one that can violate that boundary. That's an actual boundary because it's a rule for yourself. So if you're new at this, and if you're like struggling with relationships, work, marriage, whatever, the first thing that I have men do is stop asking people to do stuff for you. Stop telling people what to do. Stop setting up rules for other people and set up your life so that you can live the way you would like to, regardless of what other people do. And the only person that can break the rules of your life is you. So I'll continue to flesh that out, but that's the basic gist of it. And again, it takes a lot of practice, but it is one of the most powerful tools that you'll have in any relationship with others, with yourself, with God, family, friends, strangers, anybody, everywhere. Like this concept of leaving people alone and controlling your life from the inside is super powerful. Super powerful. Okay.